Silence! All stand and remain standing until the conclusion of the reading of the proclamation. Ladies and gentlemen, the proclamation. All persons having any business before this honorable court now draw nigh. Give your attendance, and you shall be heard.
Chief Justice, I have the honour to announce I've been appointed a judge of this court. May I present my commission?
Thank you, Justice Huggett. Please sit while the commission is read. Principal Registrar, would you kindly read the commission?
By Her Excellency, the Honourable Margaret Beasley, Companion of the Order of Australia, King's Counsel, Governor of the State of New South Wales in the Commonwealth of Australia. To Her Honour, Judge Sarah Jane Huggett, a Judge of the District Court of New South Wales. Greeting. Whereas by the Supreme Court Act 1970, it is enacted that the Governor may, by commission under the public seal of the state, appoint any qualified person to be a Judge of the Supreme Court of New South Wales. Now I, the Honourable Margaret Beasley, AC, KC, the Governor aforesaid, in pursuance of the power and authority vested in me in that behalf, do, with the advice of the Executive Council of New South Wales, hereby appoint you, the said Sarah Jane Huggett, being a person qualified to be so appointed, to be a Judge of the said court on and from the 12th day of December 2023, with rank and precedence as such in the said court and in the aforesaid state, next after the Honourable Justice Anthony Stephen McGrath, one of the judges thereof, provided always that you shall, except in case of leave of absence duly granted to you, actually execute the office to which you are by this commission appointed. Given under my hand and the public seal of the said state this 22nd day of November 2023 by the Honourable A.S. Bell, Lieutenant Governor, by deputation from Her Excellency the Governor, and signed by Her Excellency's Command, Michael Daly, Attorney General.
Thank you. Principal Registrar, do you have the form containing the affirmations? Thank you. Justice Huggett, I now ask you to rise and to take the affirmations of office, first the affirmation of allegiance and then the judicial affirmation.
Thank you, Chief Justice. I, Sarah Jane Huggett, do solemnly, sincerely and truly declare and affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Honour, His Majesty, King Charles III, his heirs and successors according to law. I, Sarah Jane Huggett, do solemnly, sincerely and truly declare and affirm that I will well and truly serve our Sovereign Lord, King Charles III, in the office of Judge of the Supreme Court of New South Wales, and I will do right to all manner of people after the laws and usages of the State of New South Wales, without fear or favour, affection or ill will.
Thank you. Please be seated while we subscribe to the affirmation. Principal Registrar, I hand to you the affirmations to be placed amongst the Court's archives. Justice Huggett, on my own behalf and on behalf of your new colleagues on the Supreme Court, I congratulate you on your appointment. To impose a cricketing metaphor on you, you come to the court with runs on the board. You've had a very, very distinguished, fine career in the District Court, where it's well known you've done some of the heaviest lifting of the most difficult and challenging cases and have demonstrated your high quality and skill as a judicial officer. Your reputation for hard work, collegiality and dedication to office will serve you well, and I know I speak on behalf of all of your new colleagues when I say we all wish you well, and we greatly look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Chief Justice.
Mr. Attorney, do you move?
May it please the Court, I acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, the Gadigal of the Eora Nation, and I pay my respects to elders past, present and future. I acknowledge our Aboriginal friends and colleagues here this morning. Chief Justice Bell, thank you for your invitation to speak. Your Honour, Justice Huggett, on behalf of the Bar and of the people of New South Wales, it is my very great pleasure indeed to congratulate you on your appointment as a Judge of the Supreme Court of New South Wales. We welcome Your Honour's husband Jerry, your children Tilly and Toby, and their partners Jimmy and Eleanor here this morning. Also celebrating with you today are your siblings James, Jennifer, Kate, Susan, Emma and Simon. They're joined by their partners and many of your nieces and nephews. Watching online is your brother, Chief Inspector Paul Huggett, and Jerry's family in England, your mother-in-law Joyce and sisters-in-law Ruth, Hilary and Alison. Sadly, missing today are your late parents Bruce and Vivienne, but we know they are with us in spirit. Also with you and us today are many friends and colleagues. They, along with your family, have contributed stories and opinions to paint a vivid picture of your life up to this moment. Your Honour, you were born in Moree in 1967. Your father, Bruce, first worked in the mines before becoming a mounted police guard and later a detective chief superintendent at the National Crime Authority. Your mother, Vivienne, was a homemaker and an amazing one at that, with 8 children to wrangle. She would later work as a receptionist and school classroom assistant. You've been described as a sweet and gentle child. As the fourth of 8 children, you never wanted to cause drama, but were instead always a quiet achiever, a peacemaker. You were taught early on to be helpful, and if a job needed doing in the family, it was to be done well, particularly the significant task of making sandwiches every morning for seven hungry siblings. Your sister Emma remembers that you were consistently deep in thought and always up to something. She also remembers witnessing the emergence of early judicial expertise. She recalls that as a child, you conceived a conflict resolution method called Add Up the Ages. This involved recruiting household allies when attempting to resolve the daily issues that arose with such a large family. You see, the oldest 4, which included you, would gang up against the youngest 4, resulting in a stalemate. You swiftly adopted the Add Up the Ages clause, effectively determining the winner. Suffice to say, being in the top order of the family meant constant victory for you. I'm not sure if this method's ever been used in court, but for a family argument placed where you were, it was perfect. You moved to Sydney after primary school, living first in Linfield, then Hunters Hill, and eventually settling in Pymble in your teenage years. You attended the Catholic Girls' High School Monte St Angelo at North Sydney. You stated that you loved school but hated school work. You've also said that you were pretty naughty at school. We find that hard to believe, Your Honour. You were kicked out of religion classes for causing disruption in class and asking too many impertinent questions. You were, however, very much walking your own path even at that age, and while the Sisters of Mercy may not have always enjoyed it, your friends and classmates absolutely loved it. You were well liked. You made friends for life, and your peers voted you head girl, much to the annoyance of the executive staff who promptly demoted you to vice captain. Although some say you weren't always wholesome enough for the sisters, that didn't bother you. You had no ego or pride, and you focused on the things that were important to you: hard work, dedication, and commitment. The most important thing to you was then and now family. You loved being part of a big family. You still do. What you didn't like was the sun. While your mother Vivienne and most of your siblings were olive-skinned sun seekers, you were the pale, freckled odd one out. While they swam for hours at Newport Beach, you searched for shade in your skivvy and terry-toweling hat with your equally fair-skinned father. It's in those moments together that you closely bonded with your dad. You adored him and he you. Your siblings clearly knew that you were your father's favourite, but they weren't jealous because you were theirs too. Your father has been a huge influence throughout your life. He instilled in you the importance of justice and fairness. It was Bruce that encouraged you to study law and to seek a career in the legal profession. You first studied arts at Macquarie University before attending Sydney University for law. You graduated in 1991 with first-class honours. Later, you would complete a Master of Laws at Sydney University, specialising in criminal law in 1995. Your first job was as a summer clerk at Blake, Dawson and Waldron, quickly followed by working in family law at Phillips Fox. You were admitted as a solicitor in 1993 and began an almost 20-year career at the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. You instantly impressed. You were hard-working, intelligent, kind-hearted and a good listener. In your first practice review, you were described as a fair bit above the ordinary. What an understatement. I think we can all agree these words can now officially be classed that way. The evidence is clear when reviewing your sterling work that you've done, including many lengthy and complex jury trials. It's also clear in the high esteem in which you are held by colleagues, opponents and clients. Whilst at the ODPP, you were the sole instructing solicitor in the prosecution of Ivan Milat. In 1996, you did an exchange to the Crown Prosecution Service in the United Kingdom. Returning to Australia in 1998, you became a senior professional assistant in Directors' Chambers in the Sydney office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. You became a trial advocate in Bathurst in 2000, where you were responsible for the prosecution of trials in both the Bathurst and Orange District Courts. This was no mean feat and demonstrated your significant ability as both a trial and jury advocate. You were admitted to the bar in 2001. The same year you became a Crown prosecutor. Your colleagues recall you being great with juries. They also witnessed your remarkable ability to engage with people and to make them feel at ease and secure. This particular skill was vital in many matters that you conducted involving complainants who had experienced considerable trauma. As a Crown prosecutor, you were involved in a number of high-profile and complex sexual assault cases, including the prosecutions of Tony Golossian and Wayne Mason. Outside the courtroom and chambers, you also made a telling contribution to the law and legal community. You served as a member of the New South Wales Bar Association Criminal Law Committee and presented training within the ODPP, as well as being a presenter for the New South Wales Bar Practice Course. You were also part of the Sydney University Law Society Women's Mentoring Program. In 2009, you took up a teaching position at Loyola Law School in Los Angeles as an adjunct professor, while Jerry worked there with Saatchi and Saatchi. It would be remiss of me to not also mention your starring role in Legal Chameleons, the photographic exhibition of well-known criminal barristers by Mark Tedeschi KC. Your outstanding contribution to the law continued when you took up your role as a judge of the District Court of New South Wales in 2012. Your friends and family are clear about what makes you an exceptional judge. You are motivated by justice, community, and by doing the right thing. They add that you're equitable and even-handed. All that have come before you know that they have been treated fairly by the justice system. You offer compassion and respect, and you receive it back. Your humble and hard-working nature has many, many admirers. Your fellow judges at the District Court bench are amongst them. They believe that you've been a uniting force at the bench. They love your self-deprecating humour, which is rare and valuable in the legal profession. Like your exemplary career as a solicitor and barrister, the best evidence of your success is the work you've done on the bench. You've served with distinction as a judge of the District Court. You've presided over many high-profile and complex matters, including the carnal knowledge trial of convicted murderer Christopher Dawson, the recent acquittal of Sri Lankan cricketer Danushka Gunatilaka, and the child sexual assault trial and then sentence proceedings of Paul Douglas Frost, all of which attracted widespread media interest. Even a brief survey of the matters you've presided over while on the District Court bench demonstrates your work ethic and ability to preside fairly and over complex and oftentimes troubling matters. You've heard a number of challenging cases involving acts and incidents that give rise to great community concern and significant distress to the victims of these crimes and their families and friends, including matters involving offences of manslaughter, serious and violent assaults, and a number of sexual assault and child sexual assault trials. Your ability to do so in a fair and even-handed manner speaks to your legal skill, your sense of justice, and your talent as a judicial officer, with even some offenders expressing their thanks for your unprejudiced and honourable handling of their matters. I know that you've loved your time at the District Court. We all do. You've loved the collegiate atmosphere and you admire all the hard work that goes on behind the scenes. You also lead by example away from the bench. You're a member of many committees that aim to make the legal system better. This includes being chair of the Child Sexual Offence Evidence Program Steering Committee. Thank you for that, Your Honour. The District Court representative on the Consent Monitoring and Advisory Group. Your roles in District Court Education and Policy and Planning Committees, the contributions you've made as a member of the Criminal Trial Bench Book Committee, and the mentoring program you've done with the Diverse Women in Law program. Many legal professionals are amazed and inspired by your humble and down-to-earth nature. You are friendly, respectful, and approachable regardless of whom you engage with. I know you're also proud and honoured to be one of the judges of the District Court's Wallumer List, which adopts alternative sentencing procedures to reduce incarceration and reoffending of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. This work aligns with one of your principles as a judge, aiming to make the system as understandable as possible for all. It also aligns with one of your biggest passions, working closely with people. This is the thing that gives you the most pleasure in your professional life. However, personally, your biggest passion is your family. The main characters in this are Jerry, Tilly, and Toby, but there are many supporting characters that you love and adore. Your friends and family appreciate your commitment to everything you do for them and with them. You're kind and caring. They think you're salt of the earth and way too humble for your own good. They know you will be cringing at all the nice things that people are saying and will say about you today, but it's not done yet. We all admire your perseverance and dedication to everything you've undertaken. You have great courage and you've brought true stability to many people. They wish you had more time to enjoy some of your own leisure, but understand that you choose not to. You're still forging your own path, and you always have. Relaxation to you is going on an aggressively fast walk with friends, or sweeping the floors when you get home, even though the cleaner's already done them. Jerry has dubbed your daily sweeping challenges as the modern domestic pentathlon of 5 different surfaces. And he tells me that you always win gold. I feel your pain, Jerry, I can tell you that. It's your family that is the real relaxation for you. Enjoying time with Jerry and the kids and your huge family. It's your happy place. They love you being part of it. And Jerry's words sum it up best. It's difficult not to love Sarah. She is so impressive in everything she does. They are excited by the next stage in your career. They know that you will continue your considerable contribution to the law and legal community in New South Wales and your exceptional career in the law as a judge of the Supreme Court. Your Honour, on behalf of the Bar and of the people of New South Wales, thank you very much for undertaking your next stage of service. Congratulations. May it please the Court.
Mr. Attorney, Ms. Ball, Senior Vice President-elect. I'm not sure if the election has happened, but Senior Vice President of the Law Society of New South Wales.
Thank you, Chief Justice. May it please the Court. I too acknowledge the Gadigal of the Eora Nation, the traditional owners on the land on which this court stands, and pay my respect to their elders past and present. I acknowledge and extend my respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island people who are with us here today. Your Honour, on behalf of the Solicitors of New South Wales, it is a privilege to be here this morning and congratulate Your Honour on this appointment. Joining you are Your Honour's family and friends, and I would like to acknowledge their presence, support and collective happiness in your achievements, along with that of the profession that I represent. It is rare to be sworn in to any bench, and even rarer to experience such a ceremony twice in a lifetime. This, Your Honour's second swearing ceremony in 11 years, reflects the esteem in which Your Honour is held. Nevertheless, Your Honour has been described by those close to you as being totally without pretension. Not one to make a celebration or fuss of yourself. One of your sisters, I shan't name names, remarked that you recently said to her in total sincerity after taking this position, and I quote, "Do you think I could get a good car now?" I believe she thinks it's okay, Your Honour. In possession of an excellent self-deprecating sense of humour, this was recently evident when Your Honour reflected on your first instance of being sworn in, likening the experience and the goodness of people to find nice things to say about you as, and I quote again, probably a bit like a funeral. May I say that Your Honour is not alone. I believe Justice Nixon of this bench expressed a similar sentiment in his swearing-in ceremony this year. Turning from auto-funerary experiences, Your Honour has been described from those in the District Court as a unifying force, respected and admired for Your Honour's objectivity, rigorous hard work and natural exceptional leadership. Many agreed that Your Honour has a great sense of humour and admired your counterability to move seamlessly into other modes, maintaining the duty and care required of your position with impeccable precision. Your Honour's professional memberships, volunteer work and judicial committee work has also been borne lightly and yet represents a huge time and personal commitment. The 5 district court committees, which committees sit outside of court hearing times, profoundly contributed to the functioning of the district court and included such tasks as revising the bench book every time the law changes. I would like to note too that Your Honour was a list judge of the Wallumbilla Court, a court whose establishment and operation is very much supported by the Law Society of New South Wales. Described by colleagues as kind and compassionate, Your Honour was noted for taking hard cases and long cases, shying away from doing nothing and doing whatever was needed. A registrar's dream, as one person put it, and universally admired by the staff of the District Court. I'm informed by a recently appointed judge to that court that you will be a tremendous loss to the District Court and in particular to the list clerk. Others remarked on Your Honour's ability to spend all weekend working, to work late into the night. Perhaps unremarkable is a room such as this, but, and here's the thing, to do so with alacrity. An outstanding work ethic, as one fellow judge put it, but one driven by love of legal work and admiration for being able to do the work of the bench. This was reflected too by your siblings, who noted that for some time it has not been unusual to call you on a Sunday afternoon and find you working with a pure appreciation for what you were doing. In court, the deft handling of the human side as much as the legal side has not been unnoticed. Your Honour has been welcomed by the profession for helping juries to understand matters and the role of evidence without prejudice and creating a cooperative court. A friend and a colleague who has worked alongside Your Honour from your days as solicitors in the 1990s revealed that people have always wanted to be around Your Honour in workplaces. He put it down to a consistent, uplifting, positive energy, a leadership natural to who Your Honour is, universally acclaimed by colleagues, which he has not seen before or since. This magnetic disposition has consistently drawn others to you. And yet, in between all of that, Your Honour was equally noted for calling friends to see how they are, how their families are, what might be happening with their work, or finding a bunch of flowers unexpectedly on their desk right when needed, regardless of everything else that might be going on in your life. Of course, in court, things are different. There are no flowers, and your colleague noted the impact your courage in court has had for many, described as fearless and without favour by those who have appeared before Your Honour and worked alongside you on the bench. They appreciated the no-nonsense approach to deciding matters on the merits of the facts and the law before you. Your Honour's elevation to this bench also comes with a warning for those appearing before Your Honour in this court. It will not be a walk in the park. The toughness of Your Honour's legal practice need be remarked on here, as Your Honour worked as a solicitor in the Office of the Department of Public Prosecutions after being admitted in 1990 until going to the bar in 2001 and becoming a Crown prosecutor. Your Honour was involved in complex, difficult and sensitive cases at the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. As mentioned, this included being the sole instructing solicitor in the prosecution of a murderer whose trial gripped the nations in the 1990s. I do not wish to name him, but to remark on the impact of that work, on the extreme nature of the evidence, and the deep tragedy for the victims and devastation for their families. The presiding justice, the Honourable Justice Hunt, no lightweight, was noted by his son as being deeply emotionally affected by that case. I raise this not to be gratuitous, but because exposure to the evidence in this matter alone is likely more emotionally overwhelming than many people in our society will face at any point in their life. Your Honour was not overwhelmed. During your career as Crown Prosecutor from 2001 to 2012, Your Honour undertook many more difficult and harrowing prosecutions, from rape to child pornography to murder. And over the previous 11 years, Your Honour's time on the District Court has not been steeped in light-hearted subject matter. Yet, Your Honour has been said by family and friends to have remained a deeply loving mother, a wonderful partner to your husband, and as we have heard, an amazing friend. Your resilience is one of your many outstanding qualities. One of your sisters, whom Your Honour often speaks to twice a day, noted that she has at times been moved to tears by some of your public cases, while you remain entirely composed. In tough times, she has noted that often after a few minutes of talking, you continue without issue, especially if she can make you laugh. Colleagues from across your professional life observed that you also pursued your matters whilst in legal practice with the necessary emotional weight they required, and then could compartmentalise yourself from the sea of suffering, continuing buoyant and uncracked. It is not without emotion, but perhaps because of your emotional ability, that Your Honour has made such an outstanding contribution to the law and administration of criminal justice. These have often been the type of matters that get appealed. They attract much publicity, the types of matters that one can be criticised for. It is not just the emotional toll, but the potential professional toll that also can come with such work. Has Your Honour borne that well? Today's appointment to the Supreme Court of New South Wales. That is the most perfect reply I can give. On behalf of the profession of solicitors, there are more than 40,000 of us in this state. I would like to thank you personally, professionally, collectively, for the service that Your Honour has provided to our society. Few will ever be personally exposed to or prosecute or hear cases such as Your Honour has. Few, I imagine, would want to or be able to do so. And yet we have before us, from the small number who undertake this, an equally rare and outstanding individual. This court is now lucky to call Your Honour its own. As one of 8 children in a large and lively family, and from a life started in Moree, your siblings have all come here today to see this moment. They noted that Bruce and Vivian, your much-loved parents, would be so proud of this had they been able to see it. Our profession considers you an excellent choice for the Supreme Court of New South Wales. It's my pleasure to say so today on behalf of the Solicitors of New South Wales. Congratulations on this appointment, Your Honour, and I wish you all the very best, as the Court pleases.
Thank you, Ms. Ball. Justice Huggett.
Chief Justice, thank you so much for the warm welcome to this court. You lead by example, and your direction of this court is recognised and admired by all. As most of you know, my position in the Common Law Division arose as a result of the elevation of the Honourable Justice Robert Beach-Jones and the reshuffling that followed thereafter. I am conscious that I am no substitute for the legal giant and personality that is His Honour. However, it will always be an honour and privilege that the record states that I am His Honour's replacement on this court. Mr. Attorney and Ms. Ball, thank you both so much for your kind and generous words. Courtrooms are supposed to be locations where only the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth is spoken. However, fortunately for me on this occasion, embellishment, omission and white lies are encouraged. While there is no need to correct the record, in the spirit of full disclosure, there is one thing I should perhaps mention. It is true that while we lived in Los Angeles, I lectured on comparative criminal law. However, that was not my only source of remuneration. To supplement the modest income paid by the Loyola Law School, I took a part-time job in a shop with the unfortunate trading name, Spanky's. I want to assure you, Chief Judge, it was a homewares and trinket shop, both front and back at the house, at least on my shifts. I would also like to take a moment to say something now about the Wallamar list. The establishment of that list in the District Court of New South Wales in 2022 was and remains an essential part of a strategy to reduce reoffending by Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples and thereby reduce their overrepresentation in our prisons. As most of you know, it provides a holistic approach to sentencing, and the judges sitting in the Wallamar list work with offenders and elders, community members and government, and non-government services to address underlying needs and risk factors related to offending. What a privilege it was to be part of an initiative that seeks to restore dignity, self-worth and hope to those who for generations have experienced exclusion and dispossession. The courage of the offenders who ballot to obtain a spot on the Wallamar list and their generosity in sharing their experiences, thoughts and goals so that they can change the trajectory of their lives is both inspiring and humbling. I pay my respects to each and every one of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander persons who are part of that list and extend my respect to their families, past and present, and to those Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who have found the time to be here today. Over the last few weeks, I received a lot of advice about how to nail the perfect swearing-in speech. One suggestion was to use ChatGPT. I toyed with that idea for a while because it would probably produce something quite impressive. The only advice was to keep it short, the only useful advice was to keep it short, so I best get on with it. The phrase, "it takes a village to raise a child," apparently originates from an African proverb, and I think we would all agree conveys the message that it takes many people, the village, to provide a stable and loving environment for children to thrive and reach their potential. In my experience, this concept requires extension. We adults are who we are because of the love and support of those around us, the people in our villages. And today is my opportunity to thank those in my village. Let me start with where I've been for the past 11 years and 41 days. On 15 October 2012, I was sworn into the District Court of New South Wales. At that time, the Chief Judge was the Honourable Justice Reg Blanch AM. Upon His Honour's retirement in 2014, the Honourable Justice Derek Price AO took over the court with, if I've counted correctly, 71 permanent judges. Fast forward to 2023, and under Justice Price's leadership, the court has some 85 judges sitting across New South Wales presiding over the court's criminal and civil jurisdiction, with a few more to be sworn in next year. In addition to the increase in the ranks, under Justice Price's leadership, the court has weathered significant challenges and changes in its criminal jurisdiction. The greatest challenge the Chief Judge had to manage was leading the court through the COVID pandemic, which put a halt to jury trials for many months and caused the adjournment of several hundred jury trials, which did not go away but were simply added to the future work of the court. The judges of the District Court should be justifiably proud of the work they have done to reduce that backlog. During Justice Price's leadership, there has also been numerous reforms that have impacted the work of the court. These include amendments to bail laws and the statutory benefits afforded for pleas of guilty, the introduction of super call-overs, the statewide expansion of the Child Sexual Offence Evidence Program, which aims to reduce the stress and trauma of the trial process for child sexual offence complainants and child witnesses, the introduction of the Wallamar list, and the introduction of coercive control laws which criminalise certain behaviours towards domestic partners intended to control and coerce. Added to that is the fact the average trial lengths have been increasing for a number of years now. All of this makes for a very busy court with a large workload. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Justice Price for leading a court that I am so proud to have been a part of, and for giving me opportunities to do interesting and challenging work, and, on a personal note, for allowing me leave at short notice in 2019 to attend to a family matter, leaving him in a position of having to find a judge available to preside over a lengthy trial. I have not forgotten that kindness. I would also like to extend my thanks to Justice Price's Associate and Executive Officer, Miss Lisa Freeman. When I was acting Chief Judge earlier this year, I witnessed firsthand the vital role Miss Freeman plays in the operations of the court. The court is lucky to have her knowledge and work ethic. Moving then to other vital parts of the District Court machinery: the court officers, the corrective services officers, the sheriff's officers, court reporting services, and Mr. Rob Finetto and his team in the criminal registry, who manage the non-judicial aspects of the criminal jurisdiction of the court. His tasks include the court sittings and the rosters, and let me assure you, the latter is an unenviable task. Rosters are movable feasts. Judges regularly get jammed when trials exceed estimates. At times, judges get COVID. Many weeks, it seems, there are not enough hours and judges to complete the work of the court. Frankly, it would be impossible to do Rob Finetto's job without his chilled attitude of keep calm and we'll work it out. In the main, he's right. There can be no doubt that for the past 11 years and 41 days, I have looked much better in court than I should have. And for that, I must thank the wonderful associates I have had, each of whom have supported me both professionally and personally. In the second half of my time on the District Court, that was Caitlin and Emma. Thank you both. But today, and for the last 2 years, it has been Sophie. What can I say? Nothing has ever been too much trouble, and I'm so grateful to you, Sophie, for the unconditional support you always give. You are clever and hardworking, you are always smiling and calm when I am not, and you have a bright future ahead of you. Thank you so much for agreeing to stay on as my associate for at least a little while, so we can chart these new waters together. Finally, my colleagues on the District Court. Today is a somewhat bitter occasion because I leave individuals who have become my friends and who are hardworking, committed and kind. Doors are always open and assistance always available. Many of us share our lunchtimes together, typically laughing at nothing and everything, and importantly, forgetting for a moment what is being attended to that day. I recognise, though, that for the regional judges in particular, you do it tough. You experience isolation and carry a significant workload on your own. In my view, you are the unsung heroes of the District Court. To all of the judges of the court, thank you for your friendship, support, and most of all, your collegiality. My success is yours to share, and I will miss you. Moving now to my friends outside of the District Court. Let me commence with my school friends. I am one of those endangered species who found their tribe on day one of high school, and 40 plus years later, we are closer than ever. We have experienced marriages, babies, and tragedies. And sending my love to Monique and Adam and their beautiful children, Archie, Chloe, and Piper, as they navigate the challenges they are presently facing. The depth of the ties that connect us is rare and coveted. Thank you, beautiful girls, for being here today, for understanding when I invariably don't make catch-ups, and for your love and kindness to me and to each other. That nursing home in our twilight years remains an excellent idea. In addition to my school friends, there are other friends who have surrounded my family and I with love and support. Friends met through the kids' school years, friends met through Jerry, who have adopted me as one of their own, friends met through the course of my career. In different ways, you each add to my happiness. Suffice to say, if a person's happiness in life is determined by the quality of their friends, then I'm doing very well indeed. Last, but by no means least, my family. As you have heard, I am one of 8 children born to Bruce, who left school at 15 to shoot rabbits, and Vivian, who grew up with her sister and father on the grounds of Parramatta Jail, where her father, Clem Walsh, was the governor. We didn't have much money growing up, but like many of their time, my parents realised the importance of education and made many sacrifices to ensure that the 8 of us got the best education they could provide. My parents have passed away, and while I know they would be proud of each of us for what we have achieved, most of all, they would be proud of the adults we have become and the fact we are all friends and still speak to one another. Thank you to each of you for being here today, and especially for those of you that travelled, Emma and Bill and James. Finally, Jerry, Tilly and Toby. Yes, I whinge about each of you constantly. Yes, I love each of you very much. Jerry, without you, none of this would be possible. You have supported me in every single aspect of my life. You understand my commitment to the profession I love. You have never made me choose between my career and family life and have put your aspirations aside so I can focus on mine. You are an excellent father and pick up the slack when I fall short. You are patient and find joy in even the most mundane of tasks. That is a gift. Thank you for being you. Given many people here today probably thought they'd arrived at Santa's Christmas cave at David Jones, or, as Toby said this morning, you look like a villager from Minecraft. I am sorry I didn't let you dress up in one of your cheerful floral shirts and your green sequin party jacket. To my headstrong, independent, and at times feisty children, both of you have been through so much in your short years, and I admire your strength of character and tenacity. Tilly, tomorrow you will be 19. You have the world at your feet with your clever mind and bubbly personality. You are a loving daughter, and Jerry and I are so happy you have found Jimmy and that you have his love and support. Toby, last week you turned 17, and what a compassionate boy you are. You look out for the underdog, leave no one behind, and you respect women. You have built a beautiful relationship with Elle, and you make each other so happy. I know you are working hard to find your path through the messiness of life, but remember, diamonds are made out of pressure. Just look at your sister. Jerry and I are so proud of you both, and most of all, the strong moral compass both of you have. That is far more important than school grades. Thank you to everyone here today. I know you're all busy. I know you're all hot and bothered. And let me say, these ceremonial robes certainly weren't designed for summer. Each of you honoured this court by your presence, and I am honoured by your presence. For those online, thank you for tuning in, and hopefully you're in your swimmers by a pool. Edwina, thank you for the legwork that goes into a ceremony like today. While I could blame my associate for the spelling errors in the email addresses sent through, that wouldn't be fair. I end cognizant of the enormous privilege I have to serve the people of New South Wales as a judge of this court. I would be lying if I said I wasn't a little daunted starting this next chapter, but I am comforted by the well wishes, kindness, and offers of support from my colleagues, many of whom are seated around me. I know I was warned not to single any person out in my village, but I'm prepared to take that risk as there are two people I want to mention before I finish up. Thank you, Justice Natalie Adams, for the tips, advice, guidance, and your friendship over the last 20 odd years. All I can say is everyone needs a Justice Natalie Adams in their life. Thank you, Justice Deborah Sweeney, for the many happy years we spent together in the DISO prior to your well-deserved appointment to this court. Your wit and your intelligence sustained me there, and I know it will sustain me here. I end where I began. Chief Justice and Mr. Attorney, thank you for this appointment. I will do my very best to uphold the solemn affirmations I took this morning to do right to all people who come into my courtroom without fear or favour, affection or ill will.
Thank you, Justice Huggett. The court will now adjourn.
All stand. This honourable court is now adjourned.